Welcome back, everybody. This video we'll talk about systems of equations and inequalities. Let me first demonstrate just the idea of system on Desmos here. Just deal with equations just to start out. I'm going to create two lines here, 2x plus 3. There's one line, and then let me do another line on the same graph. Let's do negative 1/3 x plus 1. There we go. Notice the purple line here is the second one. The green line is the top one. And the solution to the system is right here. Notice it's a decimal point, but these two coordinates, x, y, negative 0.857 and 1.286, solve this system. If I put this number in for both x's, if I put this number in for both y's, it will solve this system. Alright, and the same concept can be applied with inequalities. So if we're going to graph the system y less than negative 3x minus 2 and y less than or equal to x minus 2, let's do that here and see what comes up. Here's the first one, y less than negative 3x minus 2. That's what the line looks like. Notice we shade below it, has a y-intercept of negative 2. And then the same thing's going to happen here, y less than or equal to x minus 2. The solution is all the points where the two shadings intersect. Notice the reddish line here has solid. We shade below. The top one was a dashed line and we shade below it. It's down here, this triangular region. All these coordinates in this triangular region make both inequalities true at the same time. And that is the answer to a solution of a system of inequalities. It's where the two shadings intersect. Alright, let's try again. Let's look at another one here. About y greater than or equal to 1/3 x minus 3, y less than negative 3x minus 3. Let's go back to Desmos, clear these out. And let's type those in here. Y greater than equal to 1/3 x minus 3. There's our inequality. Notice it is shading above, y-intercept of 2, solid line. How about y less than negative 3x minus 3? We're going to shade below that line. It's a dashed line, but the triangular region right here, this where the two shadings intersect. Once again, that's the answer to this. That's the graph. That's the solution. All these points solve both inequalities at the same time. All right, let's look at a different type of problem here. Here's one where we got to choose the right graph based on the system. Okay, well, first one, we have y greater than 2x plus 2. Or I'm sorry, y less than. Less than means we're going to shade below the line, and it's a dashed line, and we got to pick the right one. Well, it's either going to be this one or this one. This has a y-intercept of 2, and we go up to right 1, so that would tend to point to this one, up to right 1. Yep, that's it. Notice we're shading underneath it here. All right, the first choice seems to work here. Let's verify it with the second. Now this right here, what I'm going to do is write it in slope-intercept form. That means I'm going to take away x from both sides to help us graph it a little easier. Y greater than or equal to negative 1x minus 3. So we're going to have a slope of negative 1 over 1. That means to go down and to the right. A y-intercept of negative 3, and here it is. There's that negative 3. And if I go down 1, right 1, I'm on the line. Down 1, right 1, I'm on the line. Greater than or equal to solid line, shade above the line. Notice the solid line, and every time we shade above, that represents the solution there. See, the two shadings intersect in this region. Our correct graph, therefore, this one right here, just to be sure. All right, I've got a multiple choice here. What's the system of linear inequalities graphed? Well, let's focus on the graph here a minute. Look at the vertical line. That's a special line. Notice it's dashed here. That means it's going to have an inequality x, and we seem to be at negative 2. And the question is, which inequality? Notice we're shading to the left of the dashed line. That means it's a less than. And since we have a dashed line, it's just less than, not less than or equal to. So wherever we have x less than -2, that's going to work for the system. And that happens on C and D. All right, now let's figure out that other line. It has a y-intercept of -2. It's solid. We're shading below it. And the slope tends to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. So for the red line, we have a slope of -1. We have a y-intercept of -2. So we want -1x minus 2. All right, and we can see that right here with C. It tends to be the right answer. Just double check that inequality. We are less than or equal to, solid line, shade below, y less than or equal to. So C is the right answer here. Let's look at another one here. Same type of problem. Here's two inequalities. Notice we have two solid lines. So any choices with doesn't have a less than equal to, greater than equal to isn't going to work. A's not going to work for that reason. B's not going to work for, or C's not going to work for that reason. But we do have the possibility of B or D. Let's look at this first line here. Right here, highlight that in red, has a y-intercept of 2, b equals 2. And we tend to go down 1, right 3, down 1, right 3. So the slope would be -1 over 3. All right, so that inequality, y, and then -1/3 x plus 2. And since it's a solid line and we're shading below it, less than or equal to. All right, I don't have one of those choices there for B or D, but we may have to do some manipulation to find it. Let's focus on the other line. I'll highlight that in blue here. All right, B equals -1. The slope seems to be up 3, right 1. M equals 3 over 1. So that inequality involves a y, slope of 3x, and then a -1. All right, it gets at the inequality right. Solid line, shade above, solid line, shade above. That would be greater than or equal to. Again, do we see that anywhere? Yeah, D tends to be it. D might be our answer. Let's make sure. Now, is there a way to make the red inequality I just typed here, or I just wrote, can I turn that into this here? It turns out I can. I can add 1/3 x to both sides. Can add y less than or equal to 2. And if I multiply everything times 3, we should have it. We'll have x plus 3y less than or equal to 6. There we go. There we go. D is the right answer here. All right, I hope this video helped with analyzing graphs of systems of inequalities. Thank you for watching.